Hi friends, welcome to episode 20 whoop, whoop, of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha and I'm coming to you from my home in Central Florida, where it's a little bit chilly, but not really. Thank you if you are a returning viewer for coming back to spend a little more time with me. If you are a new viewer and this is your first time checking me out, thank you so much for doing that. You can find me anywhere across social media as Nadira Tani. I'll put that at the bottom of the screen. And if you are so inclined, we do have a Ravelry group. If you search Quirky Monday Craftcast under the groups tab, you will find us. I think that's it for the intro bits. I have a bunch of things just off camera view to show you and talk about and be excited about. So first, I would like to show you some of my finished objects. The first one is actually on my head. This is the Corvus beanie. It is a design that I have written myself. I'm still working on typing it up and everything, but I have it all written out in my notebook. I've double checked it. This is actually the second hat that I crocheted from the pattern. The first one was orange with an orange pom-pom, which I left in the house. Maybe I'll put a picture. But yeah, it is a lace stitch beanie, slouchy. I tend to make my beanies with like lace or open patterns, or open stitch patterns, because Florida. So yeah, it incorporates front post and back post double crochets. That's US terms, double crochets, single crochets, chains, and a couple trebles. Yeah, a couple trebles. But I love the lace pattern there, and it just goes to, I guess I could take it off and show you. Don't mind the color blocking. So that's what the pattern looks like. Maybe, yeah, there you go. And I really like it. It's super cozy. Just enough space to tuck my twists or braid into. Ta-da! The Corvus beanie, or Corvus slouch hat. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to title it, but I do know I am calling it Corvus. Corvus is the name of the constellation, the Raven. I think it is. It's either the Raven or the Crow. But the lace pattern that I use is called the Crowfoot lattice. So there we go. I'm super proud of it. Hooray! And going right along, kind of in the same color story, is this baby. Is that the front? Yeah. Ta-da! This is my crocheted raglan pullover. I made this a couple weeks ago, and it is made from numerous balls of I think it's Lion Brand mandala. I think it's Lion Brand mandala yarn in the Genie colorway. So I say numerous balls because this top bit here, like throughout the raglan increases, was one ball, and then the body to like here, I think, or here, is the rest of this ball. So this is all one ball here, and then I switched colors into this one, which is the second ball, and then each sleeve is done with its own ball. Yeah. So I used about I used yarn from 3 or 4 balls to do this sweater. I thought I was going to be okay with the sleeves not matching, but when it came time to actually do the sleeves, I was like, can't handle it. So yeah, that is that. It is all double crocheted. I do want to make some adjustments. The sleeves are a bit too wide for me, but the length of the sweater is really good. The length of the width of the neckband is really good, and it's super cozy. And I've worn it to work once. I think I wore it to like a church afternoon program once. So I love it. And I have 2 more balls of the mandala yarn in the spirit colorway. So it's like the same thing, but instead of mint, it's blue. And I think I'm going to make another one, but make it short sleeve. So I only use the two balls that I have, because I'm not trying to do color matching again, because that was quite the adventure. So yeah, the ribbing, it's not quotes, it's actual ribbing. The crochet ribbing is front post, back post, double crochets. And the same on the collar. Yeah. So that is my second finished object. Both of these, since they have mint, I am going to be entering in Candace from Pin Feathers and Pearls in her mint along. So I'll be doing that. So 2 finished objects, 2 entries into the mint along. Let's keep it moving. And in true Kalisha form, as you can probably see in the 6 minutes that I've been talking, the sun has changed because I'm racing the sun again, guys. Next finished object that I have here is a sewing finished object, which is so cute, I can't handle it. I made a teddy bear. So I have a plan to make a surprise birthday gift for one of my friends. It is going to be this teddy bear, so this pattern in an African print fabric, and I'm super excited about it. He came out completely adorable. This is the first time I've made anything like this, and since he was my like muslin, I didn't sew up his back properly, so he's mine. I may actually give him to Kiva. Kiva, come here. She's outside with me. Come here. Come here. Do you want the teddy bear? The people cannot see you. Come here. No? You're just going to sit there? That's fine. Do you want the teddy bear? Not really? Okay. Well, he's mine. So yeah, I used this pattern by Simplicity 8044, and it actually has a bear, a bunny, and a dog. So that's pretty cool. It's super simple. It's only 2 pattern pieces, so you cut 2 of the front piece and 2 of the back piece, sew them together, stuff it, wham bam, thank you ma'am, you have a teddy bear. So yeah, I think for the final teddy bear I am gonna stuff it more so it isn't so squishy, because like he's got some space that could be filled. But yeah, I didn't stuff his joints so his arms still move around, and I like that. So are you gonna be in the video? Yeah? Okay. So that is my teddy bear. The last few finished objects, I don't have any of them with me, and that is because they were all gifts. So I have mentioned before that I worked in a call center, but I recently quit that job, actually 2 weeks ago. Yes. So my last day at that job was I think November 3rd, and so I made like handmade gifts for all of my friends there. So I ended up making 3 scarves, a hat, and a bag. I think that's all I made. 3 scarves, a hat, and a bag. Yeah. And I feel like I was crocheting like the wind. Of course, everything was crocheted because it's faster. But I'll put in pictures of everything so that you can see. I did stash diving for these projects, so except for the green scarf, I I bought that yarn because I didn't have the right color in my stash, because she was particular about the color green that she liked. So yeah, all three of the scarves were designs that I came up with, so they're all one of a kind. I don't know if I'm going to write those patterns out. The pink and black scarf that you'll see or have seen, it it incorporates my crochet brioche technique, so I got to work on that a bit more, and to like perfect the way that that particular technique is written. So I really enjoyed doing that. I did manage to give myself a little crocheter's elbow, if you will. But I mean, that's what happens when you're just crocheting and crocheting and crocheting for hours on end to make four crocheted gifts in less than a week, because you make decisions at the last minute and you want to do all the things. That's me. Do all the things. So yeah, those are all of my finished objects. Next, I have a couple works in progress that I'm working on. One that I think I'm gonna frog this thing, guys. Let me get it. This is more of that Dayglow pink yarn. Yes, Kiva? Because I have so much, and you can't even see it. Okay. Kind of. I am knitting what's it called? My notes are down there. Gwen's slouchy beret. It's a really nice pattern. It's really easy to memorize, but I think maybe because I've been doing so much crochet lately, it just feels like it's taking forever, and that's really annoying. So yeah, I might frog this. Plus, I don't know how it's gonna fit. I think it'll fit over my head, but it's not big enough to try on yet. So I'm kind of in like knitter's limbo. We'll see. In the next couple weeks, if I never show this again, just know that it was frogged. I still have 2 balls of this, guys. This is the never-ending yarn. The never-ending pink yarn. Kiva, do you want a pink sweater? No? Not really? Are you ignoring me? Alright. So my next 2 works in progress are both socks. One, which is in my bag that I got from Caroline from my Stitch Kit swap that we did last year. And this is actually, ma'am, sit. Thank you. Stop. This is actually a half object. I am knitting Maria Monska's Flying North socks. So here's the heel. I'm only doing the patterning on the leg though. And this yarn is called Dance With Me Beast, and it is by Yarn Cafe Creations. And I bought this yarn over a year ago and had just been hoarding it. And I was like, you know what, Kalisha? Use the yarn. So now I have yellow socks, which is cool because my box of socks is sorely lacking in bright colors. And I only got the cuff of the second sock. So, oh, and look at my little progress keeper. Hold on. It's a penguin. This was a pair of earrings that I got at the thrift store for 99 cents. And I just took the earring back off and put on a lobster claw. Ta-da! Well, guys, one of these days I'm going to win the race against the sun. Today is not that day. I'm back in what may be the most boring background this side of the Mississippi. Anywho, and there will be plenty of glare. I tried to tilt and move, but there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it now. There's gonna be glare. There's gonna be glare. So what was I talking about? I was talking about my next work in progress, which is another pair of socks, vanilla socks, that are here. There's strings everywhere. So there is the main color. And then I'm using a blue mini that I dyed as well as a pink mini. These are going to be my Socks in Space socks for another one of Candace's knit-alongs. This yarn is the yarn that I dyed with Lamar, my husband, like a couple months ago. We dyed it inspired by this picture of, I believe it's the Eagle Nebula. Yeah, Eagle Nebula, Pillars of Creation. So, and I'll put up a picture, of course. But, yeah, this is how it's knitting up. It's really dark, but I like how it's got so many colors in it. And then the pink was because in the picture, there's like one super bright like star or like star spot that a lot of times it's shown as being pink. So I dyed that. Lamar and I dyed this together. And here is how it looks in the cake. So lots of dark muted colors. It's kind of almost a muted rainbow, the way that we dyed it. The best thing I think about that whole dye experiment was how it looked in the pot, because when you look at the finished yarn, it doesn't, well, at least to me, it doesn't like scream space, or like if I put that yarn up next to the picture of the Pillars of Creation, you wouldn't be like, okay, I see where you're going. But if I put the picture of the pot next to the picture of the Pillars of Creation, you can really see where we were going and how we were adding the colors and stuff. So that was really cool. And then these are the minis. I dyed 20 gram minis. This is the blue one that I showed a few episodes back. And this is a new pink one, because I needed more pink yarn, right? But there's something about this like hot pink that's just speaking to my heart right now, which says a lot, because growing up I was never a fan of pink. Like, I did not like it at all. So this is a cool departure from typical Kalisha. So that's my sock. And like I said, this will be entered into the Socks in Space cal that Candace of Pin Feathers and Pearls is hosting. And of course I had to put it in a space bag, which this is one of the first project bags that I ever made for myself. I don't think I even interfaced it. No, it's not interfaced. It's like lined with random fabric. The zipper is one that I thrifted, and I love it. So my Socks in Space are living in the space bag, and I'm also using star stitch markers to keep track of my rows. Because, I mean, when there's a theme and I can actually make everything match the theme, I'm totally down. Totally down for that. So that is my last work in progress. I'm hoping these will be finished soonly. Oh, something else that I wanted to say about the Flying North socks. Let me grab it real quick. Come on. Okay. Something else that I wanted to say about my Flying North socks. Not actually the sock pattern, but actually the yarn. This yarn is, I think, 75% merino, 25% nylon, and it is so soft and fluffy. Like, I actually think it's got a low twist to it, maybe, because it's like, it's not splitty per se, but it just feels almost delicate. So where I'm used to using more like high twist sock yarns, like commercial sock yarns, and this yarn that I buy to dye myself is the Deborah Norville Serenity sock. I'm used to that, and it's more of a hardy yarn. Let's see if you can see any difference here. No, it's not gonna zoom in, it's not gonna focus. But the yarn that I buy to dye myself is the Deborah Norville Serenity sock base, or sock yarn, and it has a higher twist. It's not by no means high twist sock yarn, but you can look at it and see that it's more like twisted, more twisted. The twist is stronger in this one than it is in the Yarn Cafe Creations. And this is super, super soft. So it's making like lovely socks, but I kind of think, sorry guys, for the shake. I kind of think that I might want to steer more towards higher twist sock yarn, and like, I don't know. It's actually been more difficult for me to knit with this than with this, because when I'm knitting with this one and not looking, I tend to split the stitches like nobody's business. So I don't know if that's just me and the way that I'm knitting, or like if I need to reassess some things, especially if I want to start trying out more types of sock yarn and things like that. But now all of the yarn that I dyed for my space socks, it's all Deborah Norville, but this one came out feeling more like a, like you know, the sock yarn that they have that's just wool and nylon, like not merino or anything, so it's more like hardy. That's how this feels. So this is like that, but then this one, which is the same yarn, is much softer. So I think maybe because we have so many different dyes on this one that it came out like that, but I don't know. I'm not a professional dyer. I just made things I thought were pretty. So it's just been really interesting experiencing how these different yarns work up, like as I'm going through the process of knitting more socks. But that's definitely one thing I did notice about this, is it's a lot fluffier and softer than what I've been used to knitting my socks out of. So that little digression will bring us to the end of the works in progress bit. I put in my notes some needle adjacent projects. Last episode, I think I was talking about like maybe 3 or 4 ideas that I had for things that I wanted to knit coming up. There was like a pair of Afterthought Everything socks, which I haven't started clearly. There was like a baby toy that I wanted to do, which I haven't started. And then there were like a couple other things, fingerless gloves, that I wanted to do, but I haven't started any of those things. Primarily because they don't have due dates. Like, the baby's already born, so I'm not trying to like get it there for any specific thing. I don't really need fingerless gloves here in Florida, so that's just something I wanted to try out, like for skill purposes. What was that other thing that I wanted to do? Oh, the Afterthought Everything socks. Now I might do that. That might be my next pair of socks. Not quite sure. But yeah. So I still, out of the list of things, I think maybe the fingerless gloves will be the next cast on. But who knows? This is a fly by the seat of your pants kind of crafting existence that I lead, clearly. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about in like needle adjacents is a project. I don't even know if I mentioned it on here, but if you have been watching for a while, you may have heard me mention that I kind of like the Grinch a lot. Like, this is on top of my bedside table. And I found this in the thrift store, and when I found it, I squealed in the thrift store out loud. It's like that. But I pretty much have the entire, like, story memorized verbatim. No shame. None at all. But I kind of love the Grinch. And my local fabric store brought out their Christmas their Christmas fabrics. And they had some Grinch fabric, which of course I had to purchase. And with everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people online doing like quilts, I have decided that I want to do a quilt. And I'm going to do a Grinch Misc quilt. And I'm super excited about this. Yeah, that's all the words. I'm super excited about this Grinch Misc quilt, and I want to show you the fabrics that I got. Now, I have four patterned fabrics, and one of them is from Joann's. The other three are from the Sewing Studio, which is my local like fabric store. And I'm so excited about them, guys. So here's all of them together. Okay, we'll show them this way. So here's the fabrics together. This is the one from Joann's, and then these are the ones from the Sewing Studio. So I have this one. Look at all the who's. And the Grinchmas tree. And put that one to the side. And then there is this one. Go this way. With all the text. I love this. He stole the Who pudding. There's no roast beef on here. He stole the Who pudding. He stole the roast beef. I love it too much. And then you have the Naughty or Nice with the Grinch and Max. And lastly, Mr. Grinch himself. Okay, so those are going to be, I think I'm going to do a block quilt, maybe 6-inch blocks. The plan is very loose and not really set out, but it's going to happen. I'm going to cut the pieces this week, I think. I'm going to wash all the fabrics and then cut everything this week. So in addition to those, I also grabbed these. That is our friendly neighborhood Tootie. She is underneath the bed. Tootie! Tootie, you want to come up here? No. She just wants to sit underneath the bed and be a gremlin. So I got these to go with it. So some solids. And these are going to be like interspersed between the patterns. And then I also got this one to be like also a solid, but it's got the Christmas trees on it. So it's a white on white pattern. And that's going to be my Grinch Misc quilt. I want, in an awesomely awesome world, I will have this finished for Christmas time. But I doubt very seriously that this is going to be done for this Christmas, being that it's like halfway through November right now. So I might be able to get the quilt top done and then get everything pinned together, because the backing I'm just going to use a sheet. And I'm thinking about doing a queen size quilt for our bed. It just makes me so happy on the inside.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel.
Moving right along. Yeah. So that's everything for my needle adjacent projects. Hopefully one of these days I will have that quilt top to show you, or at least a plan of what it's going to look like. So recently I have purchased some things, and I'm not sorry about it. There's an abundance of Christmas about to happen, y'all. So how should I do this? Let's go with what's closest to my hand. So I got this from one of my local yarn shops. This is King Cole Glitz double knit. And of course you can see it's a Christmas colorway. I was thinking about making some like sparkly Christmas socks, like DK weight socks out of this, which I'm probably going to end up doing. This is, oh look, the colorway name is Christmas. So clever, guys. So clever. This is 97% premium acrylic, 3% polyester, 317 yards, 100 grams. I have knit a pair of socks out of acrylic yarn, but I don't really wear them because they don't fit. And not because of the yarn, because I knit them the wrong size. So I think I'm going to knit myself a pair of socks out of this. Did I say where I got it from? I don't think so. This is from Knit in Longwood. So if ever you're in the Central Florida area, go by Knit. They're super nice. The next Christmas yarn. Okay, there's 3 Christmas yarns I'm about to be showing you guys. So that was the first. Here's the second. This is String Theory Colorworks on the Orbit base. It's a 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 299 meters. Look at it. And it's a self-striping. It's going to go 8 rose green, 3 white, 8 red, 3 white. And I love this colorway name. It's called Christmas Tree Nebula. So of course, when I saw that, I was like, Christmas meets space. It had to come home with me, obviously. But so I purchased this yarn from the, what was it? Magical Fantasy Fiber Retreat Market. I think that's how the words went. So there was recently a fiber festival down here, and it was being advertised by one of the local yarn shops called Four Pearls. And they were like, oh, we're going to have a marketplace. You can come, get a ticket, squish all the yarn, see all of the awesomeness. And I was off, you know, the days that it was here. So I thought, sure, I'll go. I've never been to like a fiber market. So I went. I did do some vlogging and videoing while I was there. So soon there will be a video of that up, another Quirky Monday gallivanting video. So I don't know if it's going to go before this episode or after. It'll be somewhere near it. But when I got in there, the only thing that I definitely wanted to get was a Christmas yarn. Preferably a self-striping, because all of the, I say all of the, like I've knit a bazillion like Christmas socks. I've only knit, well, technically one, my Heritage, Cascade Heritage wave socks that I showed last episode. But I didn't quite like how one sock was red and one sock was green. So I wanted a Christmas colorway that was going to make like the socks together. And I didn't want to do like I did with my Kwanzaa socks and like hand stripe them, because that was so many ends and nobody has time for that again. So I wanted a Christmas stripey yarn, and this is perfect. I love it so much. Look at it. And look, it even came with a stitch marker. So beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So there's that. The next Christmas yarn that has entered my stash is actually dyed by me. The same day that I dyed the pink sock yarn, I also dyed the DK yarn that I showed either last episode or the episode before that. But it was this yarn, the Louisa Harding Cassia yarn. Super soft, super wash merino. Hooray! How much is in here? It is, each was a 50-gram ball, 145 yards. 75% wool, 25% nylon. And I put them in the pot, and I just kept staring at them like, I don't know what you want to be. Originally, I was going to dye them pink, and then I was like, I'll dye them Christmas colors. And then I was like, I don't think I want Christmas colors because I have 2 new Christmas yarns here. What to do? So I dyed a Whimsy Christmas. Ta-da! So instead of the red, I used the pink, and then it's got green speckles in it. And I put them both, they were both in the pot at the same time, so hopefully they're similar enough to not look crazy when I use the yarn. So I had so much fun speckling this yarn. And I use the liquid RIT dye. So my speckling technique is a little bit haphazard. So I had my yarn in the pots. I'm sure it was up to a simmer. I don't have it to a science, which is why I couldn't be a professional, because like I said a couple episodes ago, I dye one hit wonders. That's it. But yeah, so I used the liquid dye, and to get the speckles I used shish kebab skewers, like those wooden skewers, and dipped it in the dye, and then boop boop boop, shook it around. That's it. So I have those 2 skeins. Let's turn them this way so that you don't see that neon yarn I tied it up with. I have those skeins, and I really like them. So I'm calling those Whimsy Christmas. So I think I'm done with Christmas yarns. I think so. I'm pretty sure. Cheese! The last yarn that I want to talk about actually, I'm going to save that one because it's got a long story. I lied. I'm going to tell the story now. So, I watch a lot of different podcasts. And one that I watch in particular is, it just slipped my mind. So Perfect Pearls. So, I watch a lot of podcasts. And one that I watch in particular is So Perfect Pearls. Jade has been in a spinning frenzy lately and has just been spinning up beautiful, beautiful, beautiful skeins of yarn. And I'm so jealous because drop spindling just takes too long. Like, ugh. So she, on one of her past episodes, showed like a huge pile of yarn that she had just finished spinning. And she got to this particular one and was talking about how she didn't like it, how it didn't come out the way that she thought it was going to, how it was beautiful when it was in the bat, but once she spun it up, it was darker, and she just wasn't feeling it. So I sent her a message and just asked her, like, what do you do with the yarn that you don't like? And she was like, oh, it typically will stay in my stash, whatever like that. And so I was like, maybe she would like to do a swap. Now, say I thought that on Monday. All of the rest of Monday, I was like agonizing over the idea of sending her a message and saying, hey, would you like to swap that yarn you don't like for like one of my bags or something like that? So I was thinking about it all that day and all of the next day, just like, the anxiety that I created around this entire conversation that was probably would have been like maybe a 10-minute conversation. Hours and hours of what is it? Muddling over it. It was ridiculous. So I finally sent her the message, and I had typed it up on my phone. And I don't know if anybody else does it, but when you're sending something important, you type it up and then you read over it for spelling errors and does this sentence make sense and everything like that, right? So I'm reading over it and I'm like, you shouldn't send this. You shouldn't send this. And anxiety Kalisha was in my ear hardcore, delete this, go to sleep. And then possibilities Kalisha was like, I'll send it. The worst that can happen is she say no, and that's not even that bad. So I'm looking at my phone. I'm like this. I typed up the message. And I'm looking at it. And I was like, and you know how when you get really anxious, your stomach starts feeling all crazy? That's what was happening. I was hyping this up so high. It was like Mount Everest high of hype. Ridiculous. Side note, I'm sitting on the bed, which is why the camera is shaking a little bit every time I move. Back to the story. So I have the message written up on my phone, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, all right, now just press send. Just press send. It's okay. It's fine. People send stuff like this all the time. It's just a question. It's no big deal. And I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then I went. And I'm not even joking. That's how I sent it. Just. And then I looked at it and I saw it was sending, and I saw the little thing going around. And I was just like, ah! She's gonna think I'm a crazy person. So then I sent a message to my friend Tiffany, and I was like, oh my gosh, I sent this message and now I think I'm going crazy. I think I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I have a fever. I'm dying. It was the most ridiculous 30 minutes of my life, following that message. And the crazy thing is, she responded and she was like, sure. And so we talked about it, and I told her, go take a look at the bags in my shop. We decided on what we wanted to swap, and that was it. So when I tell you, this was probably all of a 5-minute conversation. Guys, anxiety is the worst. Anxiety is the worst thing to have in the passenger seat of your life's car. If you can, kick that crazy person out. They need to walk. 'Cause, bruh. So let me show you the yarn she sent. So she sent me the 2 skeins of Vintage Bloom. It's organic Polworth soy silk, I think, Tencel, bamboo, and sparkle, and it's 4.3 ounces. And I think this is so gorgeous. Like, I love that you can see all the different colors and stuff. Like, and it's actually enough to make something. Like, I haven't spun up enough to make a thing in ever. Like, I finally found my first ball of hand spun, and the thing is only like this big. Like, what am I going to do? Put 2 stripes on a scarf? Probably. That's probably exactly what's going to happen. 2 stripes on a scarf, and I'll be like, I spun that yarn. That one right there, those couple stripes, I did that. But this could be like the whole thing. So I actually, it's got like, it goes from dark brown, there's some orange in there, some sky blue, of course the different shades of pink. There's purple in here, surprisingly. Like, this is like a color scavenger hunt in here. But yeah, I love how it I almost said striped up. I love the barber pulling in it. So like, oh, that's going to be so much fun for me. And the only hand spun that I've ever like worked with was a skein of kind of chunky hand spun that I got from Chanel of the Piper podcast. And it was so cool to work with that and know that this other person created this, like actually created this yarn with their own hands. And just thinking about that and thinking about the time that was put into this just makes me feel like this is a very valuable thing. So I'm trying to figure out what I would want to make out of this. I think maybe a shawl. I have to figure out how much yardage I have here, like an estimation, and see what I can do with that, because this is so awesome. Thank you, Jade, and I hope you didn't think I was a crazy person. And if you watch this, and I hope you don't think I'm a crazy person after watching this. I'm a little bit crazy, but I think I'm lovable. So I think that balances out, right? I think so. But the yarn, or not the yarn, the fiber was hobbledehoyfibers.com by Liz Porter. I don't know if you can see that or if it's in focus, but that's their info. That's the yarn. Ta-da! She also sent some candy. Her son sent me some Sour Patch Kids, which I ate the same night I got the package because I got locked out the house. And I was like, well, let me not starve. Let me eat these Sour Patch Kids. And she sent me some Godiva, which I have been slowly working on because this is good. Yummy, yummy. So that's all of my yarn stash acquisitions. Hooray! Christmas and hand spun. The last couple things that I got while I was gallivanting around town were another pair of little teeny tiny scissors and a pin, because Florida. After I left the fiber market, since I was down by Disney and all of the souvenir shops, I decided to just go and see, what there is to see. I love souvenir shops. I don't know why. Like, they just sell random stuff that has, like, your state's name on it. But I just love them so much. Is anybody else like that? Like if your state has, like, touristy areas, do you ever go and, like, pretend to be a tourist and, like, walk around? Because I do that. I like being a tourist in my own city. But yeah, so that's everything yarny. I did have a couple other stash acquisitions, kind of. They're not yarn based. When I went to Joann's the other day, they had their simplicity patterns on sale for five for $5. So I got that one of the stuffed animals. I also got simplicity 1153, which are some bags which I wanted to try out. I got this one, which is 8231, just a simple dress. 1080, which somebody made this dress and I don't remember who it was. It may have been Tommy from Squirrel Pie Productions, maybe. I don't know. I feel like this is something that she would make if she didn't make it. But yeah. And look, Yarn Crafters on the front. Hooray! And then this is the last one, 8294. And this is another one that someone else mentioned. It may have been Katie from Inside Number 23. Possibly. But yeah, I really like this view. This is definitely something that I would wear to church and feel super cute in. So yeah, those are the patterns that I got. 5 for $5. And the last thing that I wanted to show you, which is not craft related, but it is completely Kalisha. Yes. Now, I discovered this book while I was in Barnes & Noble just browsing. So they had, like, in the middle of the aisle, they had a section that was like $20 books, like gift books. And there was one that was like Our Universe or something like that. And it had constellations and stars and information and stuff like that. So I picked that up and I was like, oh, I'm going to get this. And then as I'm walking by, I'm seeing other star books. And then I stumbled into the space section. And I just put everything down on the floor and sat down on the floor and started reading. And when I sat down, on the bottom row was this book. And this is the spine. So this is what I saw. And it really just drew me in with that font. And it's, you can't really tell, but it's silver, like silver foil. And just, I was like, ooh, what's that? So it's an illustrated tour of the night sky. And just the illustrations in it are beautiful. Like, look, this is one of my constellations that I always look for, and I'm also working on a shawl design based on her. It shows each constellation, gives the story of it and the name of the brightest star in the constellation. So hey, I wonder if Corvus is in here. Is this alphabetical? Yes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I can follow. Wait and see. Corvus. Corvus the Crow. So this is the constellation that this hat pattern is named after. But it's just, and I love that it's a monochromatic design throughout the book. So it's all shades of blue for the illustrations and the backgrounds and everything. So it goes through all of like the classical constellations, and then there are more modern constellations, which, okay. Anything can be a constellation. It breaks down the animals and mythical creatures. And then it goes into talking about the Milky Way and different types of galaxies. Has a whole section on the moon, which, where's that page? There was this. The names of the full moon. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, a blue moon is the second full moon within one calendar month. Never knew that. So once in a blue moon is really actually rare. So these are all the names. I'm just going to cover my face. These are all the names for the different full moons based on the month that they're in. So we're in November. The full moon that will happen this month is called the Beaver Moon. There's a little tidbit for you. You're welcome. So yeah, this book is just lovely. Look at that. When it gets into the planets, that's the only time that it really goes outside of that monochromatic scheme that the designer had. But, oh, so pretty. This is by Kelsey Osade. I'll put her name and her website on the screen so that you can check her out also if you are into really beautiful illustration. Like, I immediately found her on Instagram and started following her, and her work is gorgeous. I'm thinking about maybe getting a print of something. Merry Christmas? Maybe. But yeah, so that was my last thing that I wanted to share with you guys in my Stashquisition section. The only thing that I wanted to mention next regarding Quirky Monday Crafts, my Etsy shop, is that all of my fall bags are listed. I had a great time shooting the photos for the fall bags because I used some props, and I just kind of had fun doing the pictures instead of it just being very like, this is the bag, this is what it looks like. I just kind of went off on an artsy tip. But so that is all the news in Quirky Monday land. Oh, I would like to thank anyone who purchased bags from me recently. Over the last couple weeks, I've had a couple more sales, and I saw this it was kind of like a graphic thing on Instagram that said whenever you buy, it was like whenever you shop small, an actual person does a happy dance somewhere in the world. And I was like, that's so true, because whenever my phone beeps and it's like, you've got a sale, I'm like, yeah, I do a happy dance whenever anybody purchases anything from my shop, because it just makes me feel so awesome. And I was watching Melody of Melody Crochet, her Instagram stories. She went camping and she was carrying one of the bags that I made for her with her socks in it. And I was like, I made that. It's so trippy, like, to see something that you made with your own hands, like, being used and loved by somebody else. It's just, be still my heart. So yeah, that's everything that I wanted to talk to you about, everything that I wanted to share. Fingers crossed that the quilt top gets made, or we're not even going to go that far. Fingers crossed that I get all the pieces cut and the plan laid out so I have a direction. There you go. We gonna just leave that pink hat to the knitting spirits. It may get frogged. We don't know. We're gonna see how it feels. The last thing that I want to talk about is quitting my job at the call center. So I mentioned earlier in the episode that I did quit my job at the call center. I just kind of got to the point where I realized how unhappy it was making me. And while I liked, the people that I was working with, and it was awesome that I was pretty much sitting still and I could have all of this time to knit and stuff and to be creating these pieces. It was making me so unhappy. Like I was to the point where I was crying on the way to work every day. And you really shouldn't do that. Like even for a person who has a relatively balanced, you know, mental grounding, you shouldn't be feeling that way on a regular basis. And then for me, knowing that I have these struggles with anxiety and depression, having that experience where I'm regularly crying and feeling like I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to get up. Like, you know how people have like blue Mondays, like they don't want to go to work. Oh, it's Monday. Boo. Like I would feel like that. And then Tuesday would be kind of like meh. Wednesday was like hump day. So you're just like clawing your way to the weekend. Thursday, you're feeling a little better. But my brain said, okay, Thursday, that means Friday's coming. Friday means the weekend's coming, which means it's Monday. So it's basically Monday already. So just that whole, with what should have been a transition down into the weekend where you get to take a breather and then come back into the week, it was just all dismissed as this is all Monday and everything is ruined or everything is awful. And it just, I finally got to the point where I allowed myself to say it's okay that this job is not for you. Because it wasn't a hard job. It wasn't hard. Once I learned the material and what I needed to do, like I could do the job and I was good at it. You know, like my quality scores were always high. And it wasn't, like my coworkers were cool. I was never in any drama. I had like the people that sat around me like really cared about me. The one time I had a panic attack at work, they were on it. Like they knew where I had gone. They knew what to do. Like people were trying to crowd me. I had one friend who was like pushing people away. Like, no, she needs air. Leave her alone. She's fine. She'll come out of it. And just knowing that these people cared about me was, I think, really what kept me there so long. But when I finally got to the point where I was like, okay, Kalisha, it is okay to change your mind on something, which is a lesson that I'm learning, that it's okay to start down a path, realize this path is not for you, and change course. That's definitely something that I wish I would have learned in college, because that translates to you've chosen this as your major. You realize that you don't really want to do this, that you would like to do something else, change your major, you know? But I've always been that kind of person that feels like if I change my mind, it means that I have failed at what I was doing, which is not true at all. So, of course, if anybody out there has the same kind of like mindset as me, know that it is okay to change your mind. It's okay to do something different. It is okay to say, this isn't working for me. Let me try something else. So that is where I am right now. Like I said earlier, my last day at the call center was November 3rd. And I took that following week, which was this past week, I took it off from the studio. And that's how I was able to go to the fiber market and to do all the things that I was doing at home with Etsy, getting that up and going, getting things listed and stuff like that. And today was my first weekday back in the studio. I didn't mention the date at the beginning of this episode because it takes me so long to edit that who knows what date it is actually when you watch this. But today, as I'm recording, is Monday, November 13th. So today was my first weekday back in the studio, and to be honest, my anxiety levels were so high because I love what I do in the studio. I love photography. I love interacting with the families and the kids and everything like that and capturing these moments. But I hold myself to such a high standard that whenever that sentence wasn't even going to be right. I was going to say, whenever anything doesn't meet that standard, then I feel like I've failed. But what the truth is I hold myself to a high standard, and then I always feel like I'm not reaching that standard regardless of what I am actually doing. So another life lesson that I need to learn for myself is to give myself credit for what I'm actually doing. You know, to have confidence in what I'm actually doing, and to know that what I'm doing is good. And that just goes across everything, you know, the knitting and the crocheting and the sewing and everything like that. Those things that I'm putting out into the world creatively, as well as the photography that I do in the studio, and then any photography that I do outside of the studio. I need to have confidence that what Kalisha is doing and what Kalisha knows that she can do is good. So like Kalisha, give yourself a break. Like, I need to get up and get in the mirror every morning and say, you are good at what you choose to do. Yeah. You too. So let me come down off of my speech soapbox that I just kind of got up on there. But yeah, have confidence in whatever it is that you have decided to put out into the world. Know that if you put your passion and your heart into something and you put it out there, then it can't be a failure. You know, my photography may not be everybody's cup of tea. My bags may not be everybody's cup of tea, or I don't know, the designs that I'm coming up with may not be for everybody, but it'll be for somebody. And I love it. So I need to just give myself a daggone break. So yeah, that's all I've got to talk about today, guys. I hope that didn't get too preachy. Sometimes I get a little carried away, which is something I've noticed recently. When I end up talking about something that I'm really passionate about, I can get like swept into it and swept into the feeling of that passion. And I love it. I love talking about things that I love. So yeah, that's it. I'm not going to take any more of your time. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful week. Whatever time or day it is when you're watching this, I hope you are happy. Leave a comment down below of something this week that brought you joy, or something that you think will bring joy to others. Put those down below. Also, be on the lookout for the Quirky Monday gallivanting video of me at the Fiber Fantasy Market. There's not a whole lot of talking in it because it's super awkward to film inside an enclosed space with lots of strangers. But I did it. I filmed. I just didn't talk. Thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for being a part of my world. Have a wonderful day. Bye. I got new pants. It's got Nicktoons on it. Hooray! Let's see. That's Chucky Finster. He's my favorite Rugrat. And it only has like 3 shows on it, which I thought was kind of lame. It's got Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, and Hey Arnold. Nickelodeon was more than that. Come on, guys. Get it together. I walked past these at Walmart and was just like, Kalisha, keep walking. You don't need those pants. I turned around and I bought the pants. I have no self-control. I need an adult.